Hi, I'm Evan,
I'm Jack.
and today we're going to talk about the Paris Climate Agreement. And to summarize it up, the Paris Climate Agreement was signed by 195 members of the UNFCCC as of July 2017. And following that, President Donald Trump pulled out.
Yep.
Pull out game strong. So basically, the aim of the Paris Agreement is to decrease carbon emissions globally. And there's a debate regarding whether this decision or not was a good idea or if it wasn't. And some argue that Donald was foolish, and by doing so, he was displaying poor leadership on behalf of the United States. And others claim that by pulling out, it was unfair to Americans, and that the government should find a solution that treats the signatories of the treaty equally or more equally that the Paris deal would have been. So, Jack, what's the specific goal of the Paris Climate Agreement?
It's just to prevent the average global temperature from increasing more than 2 degrees Celsius.
Or 3.6 degrees Fahrenheit.
Sure.
Yeah, so this agreement, though, it was non-binding, and basically it was a contract. What non-binding means, it's a contract that lays out the terms of an agreement without obligating one
Right,
nation
yeah,
to fulfill the terms.
most of the terms of the Paris Agreement, Paris Pact, whatever you want to call it, are non-binding, just meaning that countries can pledge whatever they want.
So there's no punishment, or there's no
there's no repercussions.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody has jurisdiction to enforce those pledges or say that you didn't do this, so therefore you're in trouble.
Yeah, so we're going to pretty much summarize whether or not the Paris Agreement is a good idea or if it was a bad idea. So, Jack, do you want to start with the good ideas?
I mean, so definitely some of the pros are, green jobs or, clean energy jobs that are going to be produced. I think China and Beijing, they have a program. They're going to invest $360 million into clean energy jobs by 2020, which is it's pretty impressive. It's supposed to create more than 13 million jobs.
Mm-hmm. And so for a bad idea, point for the bad ideas, sticking with the deal, it could have cost more than 2.7 million lost jobs.
For the U.S. we're talking about now?
Yeah, by 2025, according to a National Economic Research Associate study. And the effects also could have been widespread to other nations, which includes a loss of 444,000 manufacturing jobs, which is just bizarre in my opinion. And also, according to the NERA's data, by 2040, production would have been decimated in a host of 38% cut in iron and steel, 31% in natural gas, and 86% for coal. And at that point, the total economic cost for the United States would approach approximately more than $3 trillion in lost gross domestic product. And then after that, it could have cost 6.5 industrial jobs, which is, again, just insane. The economic issue, or the economic effect would have been just grand.
But what about, my question would be, just on the topic of jobs, you have had, ever since, there's been, technology getting better and better, you've always had jobs to replace the ones that were lost, or at least generally speaking, right? But that might not be the future anymore, I think that's something we'd have to consider because...
What do you think the future consists of, Jack?
That's a good question. Maybe the future consists of a living wage. I don't know. It's kind of scary to think about, but...
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Because, now we have, everybody's facing, their jobs being, outsourced or...
Not everyone.
Automation. Most people.
Well, a lot of people. I wouldn't say everyone.
I'd say most people.
And I'd say a lot of people.
I think it's quite a few. Trucking and transportation is one of the most, important industries in the United States. And, now that we have self-driving cars, it's going to be an issue. You've even got, around factories, you got a lot of forklifts and stuff being operated by machines and not people. So,
well, I guess you could make a point for that, but let's be realistic though. Are machines and such, like robots, I guess, are they gonna take jobs away from people?
Yes.
All right. Well,
absolutely.
That's another episode.
They have been doing that, and they will continue to do that.
All right. Well, another bad idea is that the cost of the Paris Climate Agreement would cost more than 1 to 2 trillion dollars every year, according to results from the Stanford Energy Modeling Forum. And also, in other words, it would take more than $100 trillion to reduce the temperature by the end of the century by a grand total of 0.3 of 1 degree, which is just, again, bizarre. The idea of all of this is just insane simply because of how much it costs to decrease the temperature by 2 degrees Celsius. It's ridiculous.
Okay, but hold on. What about? So you're not a scientist. I'm not a scientist.
I assume I'm not.
Who's to say that point? Yeah, that 0.3, or is that 0.3 of 1 degree? So who's to say that's not going to make a huge impact?
How would it make a huge impact, Jack?
I mean, this is the whole point of the Paris Agreement.
Jack, it would take
Agriculture.
a century
Yeah, a century, but
if
who's
we
to
implemented
say?
it right now.
Who's to say that wouldn't make a difference?
I mean,
I
it would
don't
make
know.
it would make a difference of 0.3 of 1 degree.
Yeah, but who's to say that the change in that or the prevention of
Of
That-
why
yeah.
this is a good idea.
yeah, I'm saying
Well,
that,
if you want to spend $100 trillion, by all means do so. But I would not
Well,
want to take. I would not want to take part in that.
yeah, I think that's a good point.
So, Jack,
Yeah.
what's your opinion on all of this? Is the Paris Agreement is it a good thing or is it a bad thing overall?
I think the idea is an excellent thing. I think that the idea of wanting to have more energy efficient manufacturing and factories and whatnot. I think that's a great idea. But I think that the way that this agreement was executed was not ideal. I think it maybe.
I agree so. And I think the Paris Agreement in general, though, it's just pointless. Basically, it's just a non-binding agreement amongst many nations globally wanting to save the planet, Jack. But
The thing
they're
is,
not doing
I
anything.
think that strategically on Donald's part, it wasn't smart to pull out of this agreement. I think strategically, purely about optics, I don't think it was a smart move just because, what he could have stayed in the agreement and, made a pledge or whatever. It just looks bad for him to pull out when it, if it really is, that.
But if he didn't want
Whatever.
to partake in this agreement, why would he be in it?
Well, why wouldn't he want to? I don't know. That's up to him. All I'm saying is that I think
You're saying he should have been in it, but following that, he should have done nothing.
no. I'm saying I think he should have been in it because I think that making a pledge and now to backtrack a little bit, the U.S. has made leaps and bounds in terms of green jobs or reducing carbon emissions in the last decade or so, and I think that's notable. Because there are other countries, China, which have not done the same thing. Although they are moving, I believe, more in that direction, so that's a good thing. But I'm saying that I think Donald should have stayed in because I think that it's easy enough to just make a pledge that you can stick to. We're on track to do this kind of thing anyways, right? I mean, we've already been becoming greener and greener, so we're already on a trajectory to to better ourselves. It's not like we're going downhill.
I agree.
So why would he pull out?
Simply because of not being fake, Jack.
That doesn't
Being
make
in something that you don't want to partake in.
Well, but he already
being
is
real.
partaking in it because we're already on a trajectory to be greener. And why wouldn't he just want the greener, whatever?
Yes, but by
more
partaking in
environmentally?
this agreement, Jack, many jobs would have been lost. The economic issues
you've
just
got
outweighs the
you've
other.
got, but what does that even mean though? Because I understand that you're saying that these figures are saying we're going to lose lots of jobs, but is that even necessarily true? You said it yourself; it was non-binding. So why are we losing jobs?
Because if this agreement was implemented, Jack, these jobs would have been lost.
What's the agreement? What's the agreement on the U.S.'s behalf? That we would have lost so many jobs because we're already on this trajectory anyway. So do you think we should be going against this and saying, okay, stop?
Well, we're going in the direction. I wouldn't say we're following the exact same, orders from what this Paris.
There are no
Climate Agreement-
orders.
Well, I mean,
That's what you're just saying. It's
there's a
non-binding.
goal, Jack.
That's a broad goal. The U.S. goal is the only thing that Trump would be concerned about. I mean,
Well, going back to the NERA's data, globally, the 38% cut in iron and steel, 31% natural gas, and 86% for coal. It's just outrageous, Jack.
So what do you propose we do?
Honestly, I'm not quite sure.
Okay, well, that's better than most people who are just like, who think they're, everybody else is dumb and they're right.
I mean, I have a couple suggestions.
I don't know either.
One, you can drill for oil locally. Using ships to traverse the oceans only increases energy and especially moving all the stuff, all over the world. It's highly expensive and it damages the environment. And then another suggestion by Stefan Molyneux is to stop illegal immigration, Jack. Illegal immigrants who usually come into America, on average, their energy consumption is much higher than when they lived in their country of birth. The use of scarce resources increases tremendously.
Oh yeah,
and
no
it's
doubt.
it's also unconstitutional. So
Yeah.
there's no argument there.
I don't know about that, but I do know that whether it's constitutional or not. I mean, I think that the illegal immigration that needs to be reduced. I think
Reduced?
No,
I'm pretty sure it needs to be stopped.
I mean, whatever, reduced. I'm sure you can't eliminate all of it, but
Well, I'm sure you can't, but you can try your best.
reduce it by some significant factor.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. Thank you for listening to our podcast here. I hate this.